The Silent Watchers. The observation dome of Station Helios buzzed with activity as dozens of analysts from the Meridian Collective worked at their stations. First observer Lyra Val, her crystalline skin refracting the soft blue light of the holographic displays, studied the massive anomaly that had appeared at the edge of their space. Her 4 eyes narrowed as she processed the incoming data. First observer called out Sensor Chief Kex, his gelatinous form rippling with anxiety. The object has changed course. It's maintaining a steady vector toward the Argo sector. Lyra's crystalline fingers danced across the control interface. The main display shifted, showing a massive vessel unlike anything the Collective had ever encountered. Its hull was smooth and dark, resembling polished obsidian, with pulsing lines of energy running along its length like luminous veins. The ship dwarfed the Collective's largest vessels by several orders of magnitude. "Have we established its dimensions?" Lyra asked, her voice carrying the musical tone characteristic of her species. "Length, approximately 4 kilometers. Width at its widest point, 800 meters. Energy readings." Kex paused, his form fluctuating in disbelief. "Energy readings suggest power generation capabilities beyond our scale of measurement." The observation dome fell silent. Even the youngest analyst understood the implications. The Meridian Collective, a peaceful alliance of 17 spacefaring species, had never encountered a civilization capable of building something so immense. Senior diplomat Zara Vex, a tall, avian being with iridescent feathers, stepped forward. "We should convene the council immediately. This vessel's capabilities suggest a civilization far more advanced than our own. We must decide how to proceed." Within the hour, the council chamber was filled with representatives from all 17 species. The holographic projection of the unknown vessel dominated the center of the room, rotating slowly as various sensor readings scrolled beside it. Council leader Thex, an ancient being composed of living energy contained within a crystalline matrix, addressed the gathering. "Our long-range scans have detected no signs of aggression. No weapons charging, no shield harmonics typical of combat vessels. Yet its size and power suggest capabilities we cannot begin to comprehend. Look at those structures along its hull," called out military advisor Krell, his chitinous exoskeleton clicking as he gestured with multiple appendages. "Those aren't mere aesthetic features. They're weapon ports, sophisticated ones. This is a warship, regardless of its current passive stance." Murmurs of concern rippled through the chamber. The Collective had maintained peace for generations, their combined fleet designed primarily for exploration and defense. The appearance of a vessel of this size, apparently built for war, challenged everything they believed about advanced civilization. "We should establish contact," Zara suggested, her feathers shifting in thoughtful patterns. "If they wished us harm, they could have attacked without warning. Their approach seems deliberate, measured, and risk exposing our position." Krell chittered. "We know nothing about their intentions. Their technology clearly surpasses ours." We shoaled. A sudden alert cut through the chamber. Lyra's voice came through the communication system, tight with urgency. "Council members, the vessel has stopped. It's holding position just outside the Argo sector's outer boundary." The holographic display updated, showing the massive ship now stationary. As they watched, smaller objects began deploying from its hull, dozens of them, each still larger than the Collective's standard vessels. "Are those survey drones?" Zara asked, leaning forward to study the new developments. "No," Krell responded, his voice unusually quiet. "Those are fighter craft. Look at their configuration, their formation patterns. This is a combat deployment sequence." Before panic could spread through the chamber, something unexpected happened. The smaller vessels arranged themselves in a perfect geometric pattern around the larger ship, then stopped. They didn't advance. They didn't charge weapons. They simply maintained their positions, as if waiting. "They're establishing a defensive perimeter," Krell observed, surprise evident in his tone. "But why? What are they defending against?" As if in answer to his question, long-range sensors detected a new anomaly. A massive distortion was forming at the edge of their space, far beyond the unknown vessel's position. The council chamber erupted in chaos as the implications became clear. The vessel hadn't come to attack the collective. It had come to intercept something else. Thex raised his crystalline form, his energy patterns pulsing with authority. Whatever this vessel is, whoever sent it, they seem to be aware of something we are not. The question now is not whether we should make contact, but how quickly we can do so. As the council debated their next move, Lyra continued monitoring the situation from the observation dome. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to witness something unprecedented. The universe had just become a much larger, more complex place, and the Meridian Collective's peaceful existence was about to be challenged in ways they never imagined. The massive vessel hung in space like a silent guardian, its fighter screen maintaining their perfect formation. Whatever was coming, whatever threat this unknown civilization had detected, would arrive soon, and the collective would have to decide whether to trust these mysterious newcomers or face the approaching darkness alone. First observer Lyra Val looked at the readings one more time, a shiver running through her crystalline form. One thing was certain: nothing in their history had prepared them for this moment. The galaxy was about to change forever, and they had a front-row seat to whatever came next. The Awakening. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the TSS Hyperion, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display. The massive warship, humanity's first true deep space battleship, had successfully completed its experimental quantum leap drive test, perhaps too successfully. They'd emerged in an entirely unexpected region of space, surrounded by evidence of advanced civilizations they'd never encountered before. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the unprecedented situation. "Quantum drive is stable but cooling, Captain," reported Dr. James Morrison, the lead physicist whose theories had made this ship possible. His weathered face reflected both excitement and concern. "We're exactly where we intended to be spatially, but we've detected at least 17 distinct technological signatures that don't match any known human parameters," finished Commander David Park, head of tactical. "And they're all watching us." Sarah nodded, studying the holographic representation of their surroundings. The Hyperion's advanced sensors had detected the alien observation posts long before entering this sector. Rather than try to hide, impossible given their size, they'd chosen to make their presence known while maintaining a defensive posture. "What about the anomaly?" she asked. "Still growing," David replied, manipulating the display to show the massive distortion forming at the edge of the sector. "Energy signature matches the patterns we detected in the Sol system. Whatever destroyed those outer colonies is following us." The bridge crew fell silent. 3 months ago, humanity had lost contact with its furthest colonies. When investigation teams arrived, they found only debris and strange energy signatures. The Hyperion, originally designed as a breakthrough in human space travel, had been rapidly converted into humanity's first true warship, armed with weapons that pushed the boundaries of physics. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez from communications, "we're receiving a transmission. It's well-structured, definitely artificial. The AI is attempting to decode it." Sarah straightened her uniform. "Put it through once translation is established. Let's hope they're friendly. We could use some allies right about now." The main screen flickered to life, revealing a chamber filled with beings of varying forms. Some were vaguely humanoid, others completely alien. At the center stood a crystalline figure that seemed to be composed of pure energy. "Greetings, unknown vessel," the crystalline being spoke, its words automatically translated by the ship's eye. "I am Council Leader Thex of the Meridian Collective. Your arrival has caused quite a stir among our people." Sarah stepped forward, projecting calm confidence. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran spaceship Hyperion. On behalf of humanity, I apologize for our unexpected arrival. We are testing new technology and found ourselves further from home than anticipated. A peaceful research mission then." asked another figure, this one covered in iridescent feathers. Your vessel's capabilities suggest otherwise. Sarah exchanged glances with her crew before responding. The Hyperion was indeed designed for exploration. Recent events forced us to adapt her for defense. We're tracking a significant threat, one that has already cost us several colonies. The alien council chamber erupted in concerned murmurs. The crystalline leader, Thex, raised what might have been an arm for silence. The distortion you're monitoring, Thex said. We've detected it as well. What can you tell us about this threat? Sarah nodded to Dr. Morrison, who stepped forward. We call them the Harvesters. They appear seemingly from nowhere, strip entire worlds of all organic and technological material, and vanish back into the void. We tracked their energy signature here, hoping to finally catch them before they could strike again. And your weapons? Asked a chitinous being. Those are unlike anything we've encountered. Quantum-locked plasma cannons, gravitational distortion missiles, and temporal disruption fields, David answered. Theoretical weapons made real by desperation. We've lost too many lives to rely on conventional arms. The council chamber fell silent. Sarah could see the fear in some of their alien features, but also something else. Hope. The Meridian Collective had lived in peace for so long that they'd focused their development on science and culture rather than defense. Now they faced a threat they couldn't handle alone. The Hyperion sensors indicate we have approximately 48 hours before the distortion reaches critical mass. Sarah continued. We intend to engage the Harvesters when they emerge. We would welcome any assistance the Collective can provide, but we also understand if you choose to evacuate the sector. Thex's crystalline form, pulsed with inner light. Captain Chen, the Meridian Collective has maintained peace for generations. We lack your military expertise. However, we have technologies that might complement yours. Perhaps together. A partnership, Sarah finished, allowing herself a small smile. That's exactly what we were hoping for. As the diplomatic discussions continued, Commander Park kept his eyes on the tactical display. The distortion was growing faster now, its edges beginning to shimmer with unnatural energy. Whatever was coming through would face something unprecedented. Human military might combined with advanced alien technology. The next 48 hours would determine not just the fate of this sector, but potentially the course of human-alien relations for generations to come. The crew of the Hyperion had sought to make history with their quantum leap drive. Instead, they found themselves on the brink of making history in a very different way. Shadows in the dark. Time seemed to crawl as the combined forces of humanity and the Meridian Collective prepared for battle. The Hyperion's massive hangar bay had become a fusion of two civilizations, human engineers working alongside alien technicians to integrate their technologies. Captain Chen watched from an observation deck as crystalline power cores were installed in human fighter craft, while collective ships were fitted with scaled-down versions of the Hyperion's quantum weaponry. Fascinating, Dr. Morrison muttered beside her, watching a group of gelatinous aliens effortlessly phase through solid matter to reach difficult repair points. Their natural abilities alone could revolutionize our engineering approaches. Let's hope we all survive long enough to explore those possibilities, Sarah replied, checking the countdown timer on her neural link. 23 minutes until the distortion reached critical mass. Commander Park's voice came through the ship-wide comm. All vessels, battle stations, Hyperion Actual, you're needed on the bridge. Sarah found the bridge humming with focused energy. The tactical display showed their defensive formation, the Hyperion at the center, surrounded by waves of hybrid fighter squadrons and modified collective vessels. First observer Lyra Val had joined them, her crystalline form interfacing directly with their sensor arrays to provide enhanced detection capabilities. Energy spike in the distortion, Lyra announced, her musical voice tight with tension. Pattern matches nothing in collective records. Matches Harvester signatures from the Sol attacks. David confirmed. They're coming through. The distortion exploded outward, reality itself seeming to tear apart. Through the breach came shapes that defied conventional physics. Massive, geometric forms that seemed to exist in more dimensions than the eye could process. The harvester vessels, if they could be called that, moved with impossible grace. By the first light, Lyra whispered, her crystalline form dimming slightly. "What are they?" "Target locked on the primary vessel," David reported. "All weapons charged." Sarah took a deep breath. "All ships, maintain formation. Let them make the first move. We need to learn everything we can about their tactics." They didn't have to wait long. The harvester ships accelerated suddenly, their forms distorting as they moved. Energy beams of impossible color lashed out, striking the outer defense line. Several collective ships vanished instantly, their matter seemingly erased from existence. "Now," Sarah commanded, "all ships, execute Pattern Delta. Show them what humanity and the collective can do together." The Hyperion's quantum-locked plasma cannons roared to life, launching streams of superheated matter contained within temporal stasis fields. The advanced targeting systems, enhanced by collective sensor technology, allowed for precision impossible with human tech alone. The lead harvester vessel was struck directly, its impossible geometry briefly warping before a section of its hull simply ceased to exist. "Direct hit," David called out. "Their defenses are strong, but not impenetrable." The hybrid fighter squadrons moved in perfect formation, their crystalline cores allowing them to predict and avoid the harvester's energy weapons, while their human pilots executed maneuvers that the peaceful collective had never imagined. Quantum torpedoes enhanced with alien phase technology passed straight through the harvester's outer defenses, detonating within their ships. But the harvesters were far from beaten. More ships emerged from the breach, their attacks becoming more coordinated. A new type of weapon launched from their vessels, swarms of microscopic machines that began consuming any matter they touched. "Nanite weapons," Dr. Morrison shouted, analyzing the data. "They're breaking down our ships at the atomic level." Sarah watched as several more ships were consumed, their crews having no time to escape. Then she noticed something unexpected. The collective's crystalline technology was resistant to the nanites. "Lyra," she called out, "can you broadcast your crystalline resonance frequency to our shields?" The first observer understood immediately, interfacing more deeply with their systems. The Hyperion's shields began to shimmer with crystalline energy, the nanites breaking apart as they impacted the new defense. "Broadcasting frequency to all ships," Lyra announced, "adapting our resonance to." She was cut off as a massive blast rocked the Hyperion. Warning signals blared as systems began to fail across multiple decks. "Direct hit to engineering," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported. "Quantum drive is destabilizing." "Reroute power through the crystalline cores," Sarah ordered. "All ships, fall back to secondary positions. We need to regroup and—" The tactical display suddenly shifted, showing new contacts arriving. For a moment, Sarah feared more harvesters had joined the battle. Then she saw the signatures, more collective ships, dozens of them, arriving from nearby sectors. "The collective answers your call, Captain Chen," came Thex's voice over the comm. "We will not stand idle while our new allies fight for our space." Fresh ships joined the battle, their advanced shields already modified to match the crystalline resonance. The harvesters found themselves caught between multiple forces, their tactical advantage fading as humanity and the collective learned to work together. "All ships," Sarah commanded, her voice carrying the weight of two civilizations' hopes. "Concentrate fire on the breach. Let's seal their way in and deal with the ones already here." The combined fleet turned their weapons on the dimensional tear, pouring enough energy into it to distort space-time itself. The breach began to collapse, cutting off the harvester reinforcements. The remaining enemy ships, now outnumbered, began to retreat. But Sarah knew this was only the beginning. The harvesters had shown only a fraction of their capabilities, and they would be back. The real question was whether this brief cooperation between humanity and the collective could grow into something strong enough to face the challenges ahead. As damage reports flooded in and rescue operations began, Sarah looked at Lyra, The first observer's crystalline form had been damaged in the battle but still shone with determination. "We didn't just survive first contact with each other," Lyra said, seeming to read Sarah's thoughts. "We proved that together, we can face anything." Sarah nodded, turning back to the tactical display where human and alien ships now moved in perfect concert, protecting each other as they recovered their wounded and repaired their vessels. The real war was just beginning, but for the first time since the Harvesters appeared, she felt real hope for the future. Unity forged in fire. 3 days after the battle, the Hyperion's main conference room had been transformed into a joint command center. Holograms flickered above the central table, showing damage reports, tactical analyses, and sensor data from across both human and collective space. Captain Chen studied the displays alongside Council Leader Thex, whose crystalline form had been partially rebuilt after sustaining damage in the fight. "The Harvester's attack pattern matches what we saw in the Sol system," Sarah explained, highlighting specific tactical data. "But this time, we hurt them. Your crystalline technology proved to be the key we've been missing." "And your quantum weapons," Thex responded, his energy patterns shifting thoughtfully, "demonstrated that the Harvesters can be destroyed. We've lived in peace so long, we'd forgotten that sometimes survival requires strength." Dr. Morrison burst into the room, his usual composure replaced by barely contained excitement. "Captain, Council Leader, you need to see this immediately." He connected his tablet to the holographic display, bringing up new sensor readings. "We've finished analyzing the debris from the Harvester ships." The display showed microscopic structures that seemed to shift between states of matter. "Their technology isn't just advanced," James explained, "it's evolved. These aren't ships in any conventional sense. They're grown, adapted over countless cycles of development." "Living technology?" Lyra asked, entering the room with Commander Park. Her crystalline form still showed battle damage, but her voice carried renewed strength. "That explains their dimensional phasing abilities. Biological systems can adapt to quantum uncertainties in ways mechanical systems cannot. More importantly," David added, "it gives us a new vector of attack. Living systems have fundamental vulnerabilities, no matter how advanced." The discussion was interrupted by a priority alert. Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice came through the comm. "Captain, we're detecting quantum disturbances in multiple sectors. The Harvesters aren't just coming back. They're launching a full-scale invasion." Sarah straightened, her expression hardening. "How long do we have?" "Based on distortion patterns, 36 hours at most." The room erupted in activity. Thex's energy patterns flared with determination. "The Collective's full fleet stands ready, Captain. Our scientists have already begun retrofitting all our ships with crystalline cores configured to your specifications." "Good," Sarah nodded. "But we need more than ships. Commander Park, what's the status of Project Phoenix?" David brought up new schematics on the display, designs that merged human and collective technology in ways neither civilization had imagined possible. "The prototype is ready for testing. If it works, we can deploy the technology to the entire fleet." The image showed a new type of weapon, human quantum torpedoes enhanced with crystalline matrices that could phase through dimensional barriers. In theory, they could bypass the Harvesters' advanced defenses completely. "One more thing," Lyra added, interfacing with the ship's systems. "We've adapted our collective consciousness technology to enhance human neural links. With your permission, Captain, we can connect our fleet's commanders directly, share tactical information, and coordinate responses in real time." Sarah studied the alien technology that would link her mind with others, both human and alien. The old Sarah might have hesitated, but the battle had changed everything. "Do it. We need every advantage we can get." The next day passed in a blur of preparation. The Hyperion's hangar bay became a testing ground for the new hybrid technologies. Fighter pilots underwent consciousness-linking procedures, learning to think and react as one while maintaining their individual creativity, a combination that seemed to particularly unnerve their enemies. In engineering, Dr. Morrison worked alongside collective scientists to stabilize the quantum crystalline matrix. The technology was volatile, pushing the boundaries of known physics, but the potential advantages outweighed the risks. 24 hours before the expected invasion, Sarah stood in the Hyperion's observation deck, watching the combined fleet perform maneuvers. Human warships now sparkled with crystalline energy, while collective vessels bristled with quantum weapons. The sight filled her with pride and worry. Having doubts, Lyra asked, approaching silently. "Not about our alliance," Sarah replied, "but we're about to face an enemy that's had potentially millions of years to perfect their living technology. We've had less than a week to prepare." True, Lyra's crystalline form pulsed softly, but we have something they don't. What's that? Diversity. Creativity. The harvesters evolved through pure efficiency, but look at our fleet. Every ship represents a different approach, a unique way of thinking. Humans with their warrior spirit, the collective with our unity of purpose. Together, we're not just strong, we're unpredictable. Sarah considered this as she watched a squadron of hybrid fighters execute a complex maneuver that would have been impossible for either civilization alone. The neural link she now shared with the fleet's commanders gave her a sense of their readiness. Determination tinged with fear, but no hesitation. "All hands," she announced, her voice carrying throughout the fleet through both conventional comms and consciousness links. "Battle stations. Begin final preparations. The harvesters think they're hunting us. It's time to show them what happens when humanity and the collective stand together." As the fleet moved into position, Sarah felt the weight of two civilizations' hopes resting on their success. But she also felt something else, a sense of unity and purpose that transcended species. The harvesters were about to face something they'd never encountered before, a force that combined human ingenuity and determination with collective technology and wisdom. The quantum distortions were growing stronger. Soon, the real test would begin. But as Sarah looked at her mixed crew of humans and aliens working seamlessly together, she knew that win or lose, they'd already achieved something remarkable. They'd proven that different species could not only coexist but become stronger together. Now they just had to survive long enough to build on that foundation. A new dawn. The quantum distortions reached critical mass exactly when predicted. Reality fractured across multiple sectors as the harvester fleet emerged, not dozens of ships this time, but hundreds. Their living vessels rippled with impossible energies, dimensional tears spreading in their wake. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the Hyperion's bridge, the neural link connecting her to every commander in the combined fleet. Through their shared consciousness, she felt the mixture of fear and determination, human and alien minds united in purpose. "All ships, execute Battle Plan Omega," she commanded, both through comms and neural link. "Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for." The Hyperion's enhanced sensors, now powered by crystalline cores, detected the harvester's first attack before it launched. Multiple dimensional fractures forming. Lyra reported, her crystalline form interfaced directly with the ship's systems. "They're trying to flank us through subspace." "Not this time," Sarah responded. "Commander Park, deploy the quantum nets." David activated their newest weapon, a network of crystalline satellites that generated overlapping fields of quantum-locked space. The harvesters' dimensional jumps crashed against these barriers, forcing them to fight in normal space. The battle erupted across the sector. Human warships, their hulls now laced with crystalline matrices, engaged the enemy directly. Collective vessels phased through harvester attacks, retaliating with quantum weapons that disrupted their biological technology. Hybrid fighters moved in formations that defied conventional physics, their neural-linked pilots thinking and reacting as one. "Project Phoenix is ready," Dr. Morrison reported from engineering, his voice tense with anticipation. "But we'll only get one shot at this." Sarah watched the tactical display, waiting for the perfect moment. The harvesters were adapting to their defensive strategies, their living ships evolving new countermeasures even during the battle. But that adaptation was predictable, and they were counting on it. Now, Sarah commanded as the harvester fleet consolidated into a spear formation for a final push. All ships fall back to secondary positions. Engineering, initiate Phoenix Protocol. The Hyperion's crystalline core pulsed with blinding energy as the quantum crystalline matrix reached critical resonance. Similar pulses emanated from every ship in the fleet, their frequencies perfectly synchronized through the neural network. The effect rippled through space, creating a cascading wave of quantum disruption. The harvesters' living ships began to destabilize, their adaptive technology trying to evolve countermeasures, but instead accelerating the effect. Their dimensional phasing, the variability that made them so formidable, became their weakness as they shifted uncontrollably between states of matter. Direct hit on their command ship, David reported, highlighting a massive vessel at the fleet's center. Their coordination is breaking down. Through the neural link, Sarah felt the collective triumph as the harvester fleet began to disintegrate. But victory had come at a cost. The quantum crystalline pulse had pushed their hybrid technology beyond its limits. Ships across the fleet reported critical system failures. Hull breaches on decks 5 through 8. Lieutenant Rodriguez called out as the Hyperion's superstructure groaned. Crystalline core is going critical. All hands, abandon ship, Sarah ordered, but Lyra interrupted her. Wait. The first observer's crystalline form pulsed with inspiration. The crystalline resonance. We can stabilize it, but I'll need direct interface access. Understanding flowed through the neural link. The collective's consciousness technology could potentially contain the quantum cascade, but it would require a deep connection that had never been attempted between their species. Sarah didn't hesitate. Do it. Lyra's crystalline form merged with the ship's failing core as Sarah connected more deeply through the neural link. Human consciousness met alien crystalline patterns, creating something entirely new. Energy coursed through the Hyperion as organic and crystalline technologies achieved perfect harmony. The effect spread through the neural network, stabilizing ships across the fleet, where moments before they faced destruction, now they emerged stronger, their hybrid systems permanently altered by the fusion of human and collective consciousness. As the quantum disruption field faded, they could see the result of their gambit. The harvester fleet was gone, their living ships either destroyed or fled through rapidly collapsing dimensional tiers. But they'd left behind something valuable: data about their origins, their evolution, and their weaknesses. Hours later, in the Hyperion's partially restored conference room, the leaders of both civilizations met to discuss the future. The neural link had been temporary, but its effects lingered. A deeper understanding between species that went beyond mere alliance. The harvesters will return, Thex noted, his energy patterns showing concern. Perhaps not for generations, but they will evolve new strategies, new defenses. And we'll be ready, Sarah replied. What we achieved today wasn't just a military victory. We proved that different species, different ways of thinking, can come together to create something greater than the sum of its parts. The question, Lyra added, her crystalline form now bearing permanent traces of human neural patterns, is what we do with that knowledge. The answer came in the following months as more species joined what became known as the Unity Alliance. The Hyperion, restored and enhanced, became a symbol of this new cooperation. Part warship, part research vessel, crewed by beings from across the galaxy. Sarah stood on her favorite observation deck, watching ships of all shapes and sizes dock with the massive station they'd built at the battle site. Each vessel represented a different species, a different approach to the universe's challenges. Together, they were building something unprecedented. A civilization that celebrated diversity while maintaining unity of purpose. Ready for your next mission, Captain? Lyra asked, joining her at the window. Their shared experience during the battle had created a permanent bond, making them among the first of many human collective partnerships. Always, Sarah smiled, feeling the familiar excitement of exploration. The Hyperion had been built to test the boundaries of human achievement. Instead, it had helped break down the boundaries between species, creating something far more important than its creators had ever imagined. As she headed for the bridge, Sarah reflected on how it all started, with aliens watching in fear as a human battleship entered their space. That fear had turned to trust, then partnership, and finally true unity. The harvesters had meant to destroy them, but instead, they catalyzed the creation of something unprecedented in the galaxy's history. The Hyperion's quantum drive hummed to life, its crystalline core pulsing with the combined energy of two civilizations' technology. Ahead lay new challenges, new discoveries, and new opportunities for cooperation. But whatever the galaxy held in store, they would face it together, not as humans and aliens, but as a single united force. "All hands," Sarah commanded, her voice carrying the weight of history and hope for the future. "Prepare for quantum jump. Let's show the galaxy what unity looks like." The great ship vanished in a flash of quantum energy, leaving behind a changed galaxy and a legacy that would endure for generations to come.